Today, we're going to be bringing you our AFC West draft grades. Get ready. I had a few mixed emotions about this. So did Manny. Wasn't the greatest division for me to talk about. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and get these rolling. As always, I'm Byron. My co-host is Manny. He'll be talking about our Denver Broncos here. So let's get these draft grades rolling.
All right. Well, as you can see here, I have a B plus. The Marvin Mims pick for me was a bit of a reach in my opinion, even though he did, if you look at his just purely his stats, obviously he had a large yards per catch and all that stuff, and it was definitely a deep threat and ran a good 40. I just worry about his route running. Feel like it's kind of developmental in that part of it. So to me, in the second round was a bit of a reach, but I like everything else they did. Drew Sanders, obviously the linebacker position being not as highly coveted as other positions, just like the running backs. They're getting drafted later nowadays. Drew Sanders, one of the best linebackers in the draft, so that was a really, really good pick in the third round. Riley Moss, extremely productive at Iowa. I hesitate saying this, but first white corner we've seen since Seahorn probably. Really, really good. He plays so fast. Very, very excited to see what he can do. I think Jalen Skinner, I think we had a mock draft. He just has such a big size. I think he's 6'4", 210 pounds or 205, something like that. I believe he was being mocked around the second or third round. So being able to get him here in the sixth round is kind of a steal for me. Although I see that, in the Senior Bowl, even though he did have a good Senior Bowl week, there were some issues and coverage, especially against Trey Palmer, which I don't expect him to be guarding Trey Palmer one-on-one in many situations, but he definitely not able to play the slot if that's something that he needs to do. So overall, I think they did really, really good. Going back to the two third-round picks and the sixth round, Marvin Mims remains to be seen. I was a little down on him. I think he probably should have been more of a third or fourth round pick, but they must have liked him a lot. So for me, it's a B plus, just based on the value they got down the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm a little off on this one. However, they did get one of the players that I would have loved to see the Texans draft, and Drew Sanders. Man, he is an absolute baller. Definitely, I thought, he's got so much talent. To me, he should have been a first rounder. If Jack Campbell could go in the first round, I don't understand why Drew Sanders can't. But got a steal there, definite steal there with Drew Sanders. How he slipped that far in the draft, I still don't know. Marvin Mims, I think you got Sterling Shepard 2.0. That's my comp for him. I'm not, and then it's not because of Oklahoma. It's just the way they play. However, he had a super profile coming out of high school. One of the most decorated, if not the most decorated, wide receiver in the whole entire state of Texas. So this guy was an absolute monster coming out of high school. For me, I really like the value they got with Alex Forsyth out of Oregon. I think he's going to be one of the better centers to come out of this draft. For me, that's a steal in the seventh round. Riley Moss remains to be seen. JL Skinner, we'll see how they do. But for me, not so much after the first two picks that I'm clapping and happy about. But Drew Sanders, that got you the C plus for me.
All right. Let's move on to the Raiders. I really like what the Raiders did. Getting Tyree Wilson in the seventh overall. Obviously, we didn't know exactly where he was going to go. There was a lot of questions about Jalen Carter and how far he was going to drop. There was actually potential that the Cardinals were going to get him 3 overall. maybe. So yeah, I think great value with Tyree Wilson, pairing him up with Crosby. Um, it's gonna be pretty scary pass rush for the Raiders. Uh, Michael Mayer, extremely productive in college. Um, for a while there, he was the top-rated, tight end in the draft, and obviously, not that he's not athletic, but when you see some of the other athletic freaks that were coming out of this draft, out of the tight end class, like Luke Musgrove, um, or Kincaid, obviously, even though he's super consistent, that kind of maybe wasn't as flashy as some of the other guys that were coming out of the draft, so that kind of dropped. But I think getting him in the second round was an extremely great pick, especially after the Waller trade. Byron Young was kind of a reach for me. I think they kind of mentioned this in the draft, how they probably should have gotten the other Byron Young out of Tennessee. But one of the guys that I think was really, really I like the pick. I just don't know they already have kind of a loaded wide receiver room, I think. Trey Tucker, to me, he's a lot faster version of Hunter Renfrow. Very good in the slot. Just really, really fast. Obviously Hunter Renfrow was not a speed demon kind of out of Clemson, but overall, I think they did a great job. It's just obviously Christopher Smith out of Georgia was kind of a pick a little bit later than we had mocked him. I think when we did our mock, we had him maybe second round, maybe third round.
Yeah, I had him going mid-second to early third is what my grade was on him. So
yeah, so getting him in the fifth round is definitely a steal. As well as Bennett. I think Bennett was I thought he was going to be drafted a little bit sooner too, but overall, I think they did a good job. Didn't blow me out of the water, but I think at the end of the day, I think Michael Mayer may be the best pick in this draft. For this draft class, not the draft for the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So for me, I think they won the AFC West as far as best draft and in this division. I really like what the Raiders did. No more Michael Mayock bullshit. He absolutely just destroyed that franchise. Just the most wasted picks I've ever seen, high picks from a franchise, is awarded to the Raiders. I mean, they have thrown away a lot of draft capital, and I'm really glad to see them turn it around this year. For me, Tyree Wilson is going to be an absolute monster. Love the pairing with him again with Max Crosby. That
Mm-hmm.
front seven is just automatic, dude. They're going to be in the backfield it's going to be amazing to see. They look like two pterodactyls. Have you seen these guys' arms? I mean, it's just, I've
Yeah.
never seen longer arms from a defensive end. It's almost freakish. Michael Mayer got him a tight end out of Notre Dame. Love this guy. Love the landing spot. I think it was a steal, like you said. Byron Young, I feel like that is a reach. I do feel like the other Young should have went in front of this guy, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Maybe it's going to be one of those things. Alabama guys, they work out on the defensive line, so hopefully he'll come through. I really, 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 really love Christopher Smith. I was hoping, my team would have drafted him and put him on the other side of Petrie. That didn't happen. I thought it was a big-time get for them to get him where they got him. Like I said, we had him going way up in the draft. So for me, guys, B+. Those are really my notables in this actual draft. Get a B+ here, guys. Almost made an A. That's pretty good coming from me. I'm pretty tough on draft grades. So way to go, Raiders. Finally looking good.
One player I forgot to mention was Aiden O'Connell. I'll just kind of quickly wrap it up with this and let me know what you think. But I don't know if you've heard about Garoppolo's. Obviously, there was an question about his shoulder. Apparently that's fine, but now there's a foot injury. He may actually, be released or not, be able to earn his contract because of the foot issue, which no one seemed to know about. They
Yeah.
drafted O'Connell in the fourth round. They really don't have a lot of a lot of options there. O'Connell was really really productive out of Purdue. More of an old school statue type quarterbacks. So we'll see. He might be relevant fantasy wise a little bit sooner than maybe most people thought. With Garoppolo being there. Remains to be seen what happens with Garoppolo and the Raiders, but I wanted to kind of bring that up because I forgot to mention them originally, and there seems to be maybe a little bit of a sneaky fantasy pick if Garoppolo can't get his health together.
Well, hate to break it to you, but I am not on the Aiden O'Connell train. If if something does happen to Garoppolo and I'm the Raiders, I am busting down the door for the 49ers, Trey Lance. And I'll give up 2 first rounders to go get him. I feel like that would be the move for me if you want to,
Hmm.
jumpstart Las Vegas Raider fandom. They would have something to be proud about. Garoppolo is no slouch, but if he's hurt, like I said, what good does he do for you if he's
Yeah,
not playing? I mean, I really think Garoppolo is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL.
yeah,
A la Kirk Cousins. So I'm not going to get too deep into it, but the move for me would be to
hmm,
acquire Trey Lance if he is indeed hurt. Aiden O'Connell is just another Davis Mills to me. So I mean, I'm not
yeah,
really, I'm not tooting the horn about Aiden O'Connell. Could work out, but the draft capital just isn't there for me. So uh,
yeah,
you never know, man. These guys could end up being Tom Brady. I could be looking like a dumbass here, but
yeah,
I'm not really like pounding the table for Aiden O'Connell. But guys,
yeah.
we're gonna move on to our next team here, and really, 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 really can't wait for this one.
Well, no, that's a good point. I like the Trey Lance trade suggestion. I didn't really think about that, but that would be definitely a move they could make for sure.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be talking about the Chiefs, and
Mm.
I gave them a B grade. I think picking Felix Anundike Uzama in the last pick of the first round, since the Dolphins forfeited their pick. I really, really like him. Extremely productive at Kansas State. Rasheed Rice size speed combo extremely good. The only I guess drawback to this is the fact that the receiver room is so crowded in Kansas City right now. No one's really a. I mean, maybe Tony's the number one. Maybe Sky Moore comes out of nowhere as the number one. No one really has solidified that role as the number one wide receiver there. Rumor has it that it is Tony, but Rasheed Rice has the size and speed to maybe be more of a X type receiver. Definitely very talented. So we'll see what happens there. Um, Wayne Morris, I think he's extremely underrated. I thought he was going to maybe go more in the second round, which obviously he didn't fall too far from that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. And overall, I like what they did. That they didn't have a lot of needs, but I think um, you know those first three picks for me are the ones that are um, the big winners for me in my opinion for the Chiefs.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I think they could have done so much better with what they actually had. I mean, every pick for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs is going to be a luxury pick because what else do you need if you have Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah,
The guy made it work without Tyreek Hill. I mean, they traded one of the most electric wide receivers last year, or sorry, I don't know, the year before that, and he's still producing. He's still making. He's using Travis Kelsey like he's Randy Moss. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, man. Patrick Mahomes made me a believer last year. I was like, all right, Patrick Mahomes is definitely worth the contract he got.
Mm-hmm.
So, without me going too much more into Patty Daddy here, let me get into the draft grades. This is all I saw out of the Chiefs in this draft. Reach, reach, reach. Uh, I felt like there were so many more better players on the table for them to take in these positions. Uh, I can't get on board with what they did here, man. Rasheed Rice is really the only thing that I thought that they got somewhat value in. Them and Keandre Coburn out of Texas, he's going to be a pretty nice little ad on that front seven. I really, really liked him coming out of Texas. Had like a fourth round grade, so to get him later on in the sixth was a pretty good deal for me. Everything else, man, I'm really the tackle, out of Oklahoma. That's nice, but you didn't need offensive line. You got the probably the best offensive line in all of football besides the Eagles. So for me, I just saw a bunch of reaching going on, and honestly, my little girl could have probably drafted better than they did this the time around. That's just my opinion. So
Mm-hmm.
C minus for me.
All right. And last but not least, we have I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. I give them a B plus. I really like, uh, they kind of not necessarily started the run because the Seahawks started the run drafting JSN at 20th overall, but um, they kind of had their choice of the wide receivers after that, and I think Quentin Johnston is. Um, there's still some work to be done, but his potential is off the roof. I think he needs to be I guess learn to be a little more consistent and more comfortable catching with his hands, which that might be the kind of the drawback for him. Um, but after the catch, for someone his size, he's extremely electric. I really like him. Um, Looks like they love TCU. They drafted three players out of there. Darius Davis ran a 4.3, so
Man,
they got some speed
yeah.
as well there. Max Duggan in the seventh round. Obviously, we know what he did, and when he was playing TCU, led him to the championship game. Kind of struggled in obviously in the championship game, but I think getting him in the seventh round is kind of a steal, especially with the way he played. And I mean, obviously, maybe him struggling a little bit in the Senior Bowl had something to do with that. But overall, I think they did a really good job with their picks. Um, I guess we'll see what happens. But I like their picks. Really like what they did with Quentin Johnston. I think that was the right pick for me, especially having Herbert at quarterback. Why not getting him another weapon? Um, the only thing they could have possibly done is maybe draft a tight end. That was potentially a need for theirs, which they didn't really address. So they must be happy with what they have. But I really like the Chargers picks.
Yeah, man. I thought they had a really nice draft. I thought it was for me it was a B. I like Quentin Johnston. I'm a little skeptical. I tell everybody, I lay down the Bible on the dynasty and the fantasy land of do not draft TCU or Baylor wide receivers because they don't come in and light it up in the NFL. They got a terrible track record, but I think Quentin Johnston's about to break that. Um, you know, for me, I think that he's the heir apparent to Keenan Allen. Once Keenan Allen decides to hang him up, uh, I don't know when that'll be, but he's not getting any younger. For me, getting this linebacker, I heard a lot about him, and I've done a lot of research. I went back, and this is one of the most electric linebackers that had a pretty high grade that no one's talking about. The Washington State linebacker right here, dude. To get him in the third round, wow, wow. I'm getting the shades up on this guy because I was blinded by the school at first, and then I watched a little bit more, and I dug into him, and I was like, wow, they actually got a really good deal on this linebacker here in the third. So, for me, man, another player, Max Duggan, taking them all the way to the national championship. You know, they had one of the worst showings of all time in the national championship, but that's nothing to, you know, just to get there is good. So to have him come in case Herbert goes down, maybe step in, I like that pick a lot. I think that's a nice little backup they got there in the 7th round. So for me, it's a B. You know, I was really, really, really high on Quentin Johnston coming in before pre-draft on my, you know, dynasty rankings for him. I think he took a little bit of a fall. I don't think we're going to see him go top 5 anymore just because he got covered by Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. You know, but for me, he's still a top 10 guy. I think that he could easily go in the top 10. Look for Quentin Johnston to snatch up. You know, I would definitely like to see him on my team, but I'm not taking him in the top 5. So, with that being said, guys, you know, we really, really, really appreciate the likes, the follows, and we really want to keep you guys coming in on our journey with us here at Dynasty Football Live. We love the support. We love that we get, you know, just guys, we need you to smash this like button. Hit that follow button. You know, we need to get some subscribers going on because, you know.
We're over 50. We did it.
Yeah,
we're over
trying
50.
Trying to get to 100 now. So that's our next goal, guys. We really appreciate it, though, guys. And you got anything else before we cut out of here, man?
No, that's all, man. You got it all.
Hey, baby. As always, Dynasty Football out.